The Castles of Burgundy is a strategic, tile placement territory building game where players will take on the roles of princes with hearts set on developing the wealthiest estates through careful planning, trade, and development in 15th century Burgundy. This game is for 2 to 4 players but plays best with 2. Games will last about 30 to 90 minutes, and the difficulty rating is 3.0 out of 5. To begin, lay the game board in the middle of the table. Divide the 6-sided tiles by the color of their backs and place them in face-down piles next to the game board, along with the Silverlings and worker tiles. Next, place the 12 bonus tiles on their corresponding spaces. Each player will now choose a color and take the matching 2 dice, 2 playing pieces, and victory point tile. Now players should each roll a die to determine the start player. Highest result wins. Then stack one of their playing pieces on space 1 of the turn order track on the game board. Start player on top, all other players in clockwise order underneath. Then place your remaining playing piece on space 0 of the victory point track. Randomly give each player a 2-sided player board and a dark green castle tile. Each player will now choose which side of his board to use during the game. Players should all agree on whether this decision is made simultaneously or in turn order. If this is your first time playing, you should use Estate 1 marked here on the bottom of your player board. Now players will place their castle on any dark green space in their estate. First time players should place this castle in the middle space of Estate 1. Now shuffle the goods tiles face down and stack them 5 tiles high on each of the phase spaces labeled A through E on the game board. From those that remain, randomly deal each player 3 tiles, then place the rest back in the game box. Players will place their tiles on the 3 goods storage spaces of their player board, stacking tiles of the same color on top of each other. Players will now receive 1 Silverling, which they'll place in their Silverling storage. And in addition to that, the start player will receive 1 worker tile, second player receives 2 worker tiles, third gets 3, fourth gets 4. Place your worker tiles in the worker tile storage of your player board. Now hand the start player the white die and the game is about to begin. Each game of the Castles of Burgundy lasts for 5 phases. Each phase has 5 rounds. During every round, players will each take 1 turn. At the beginning of Phase A, place random 6-sided tiles face up on the game board by matching the color. The 2s, 3s, and 4s on the game board represent 2, 3, or 4-player games. In a 2-player game, you will only replenish spaces with a 2. In a 3-player game, replenish the 2s and 3s. And in a 4-player game, replenish all spaces. Finally, take the 5 goods tiles from Phase A and place 1 in each of the round spaces face up. Now it's time to begin the first round. All players at the same time will roll their 2 dice and place them in front of themselves, visible to all players. The start player also rolls the white die and places the topmost good from the round spaces into the depot that matches the result on the die. The white die's use is now complete, and it won't be used again until the next round. Beginning with the start player, take turns in the order represented by the turn order track, from right to left and top to bottom. On your turn, you will carry out exactly 2 actions, 1 for each die. You're allowed to take the same action twice if you're able. Once a die is used, place it in your used die storage on your player board so you don't accidentally use it again. In the Castles of Burgundy, there are 4 actions. Each one is summarized here on your player board. A good tip is that if the arrow on the illustration is pointing down, it means you're taking something from the game board. And if it's pointed up, it means you're moving something that's already on your player board. So let's go over the actions now. Action 1. Take 6-sided tile from the game board. Spend a die and take 1 6-sided tile of your choice from the depot whose number matches the result on the die. This tile is placed directly onto an empty storage space on your player board. You may never place a tile directly from the game board into your estate. If all of your storage spaces are full, you must first discard one of your tiles from your player board to make room for the new one. If you're unhappy with a roll, you may spend a worker to change the result by +1 or -1. There's no limit to the amount of workers you can use during a turn. You may change a 6 to a 1 if you'd like, and vice versa. You may not use a worker to change the result of the white die. Action 2. Add 6-sided tile to your estate. Spend a die and place any 1 6-sided tile from your storage into an empty space on your estate that matches the result on the die. This space and the tile must have matching colors. It must also be directly adjacent to a previously placed tile. Thus, your first tile may only be placed in one of the 6 spaces around your castle. Each type of tile has an effect which occurs immediately after it's placed. This summary on your player board will help you remember what effect each type has. Let's go over those effects now. Dark green tiles are called castle tiles. When you place a castle tile into your estate, you may immediately carry out 1 additional action of your choice, as though you had a 3rd die with any result you want. Light green tiles are called animal tiles. When you place an animal tile into your estate, count up the number of animals on that tile, and move your playing piece ahead on the victory point track that number of spaces. If you happen to have any other animals of the same type in the same pasture, you get to count them up again too, and you gain points for them as well. So for example, I'm placing a tile with 3 pigs in my pasture, which will instantly grant me 3 victory points. On a subsequent turn, I place a tile with 4 pigs into this same pasture. I instantly gain 7 points, because I get to count and score these pigs all over again. Blue tiles are called ship tiles. When you place a ship tile into your estate, 2 things happen immediately. First, take all of the goods from any one depot on the game board, regardless of your die result. Then add those goods to your goods storage. Remember to stack same colors on top of each other. Since you can only have 3 different types of goods at a time, if you're unable to store some of the goods from that depot, just leave them there and take only the ones you're able to store. Second, move your playing piece on the turn order track ahead 1 space. If there's already someone on this space, place your piece on top of theirs. At the beginning of the next round, if you're the furthest to the right and furthest to the top, you will be the new start player and take the white die. Gray tiles are called mine tiles. They do not have an immediate effect like many other tiles do. Instead, at the end of each phase, that's phase, not round, you will receive 1 Silverling for each mine in your estate. Silverlings are worth 1 victory point each at the end of the game, but are more commonly used to purchase tiles from the central black depot. Once per turn, at any time during your turn, and in addition to your 2 dice actions, you may spend 2 Silverlings to buy 1 tile from the central black depot and place it on an empty storage space. These tiles are exactly the same as other tiles, they're just gained differently. Beige tiles are called building tiles. When you place a building tile into your estate, you immediately carry out that building's advantage. You may not build 2 of the same type of building in the same region. The summary on your player board will remind you of each building's advantage. Let's go over them now. The warehouse allows you to immediately carry out the sell goods action, which we'll cover in a minute. The Carpenter's workshop lets you immediately take 1 beige building tile for free from any depot except the central black depot and place it onto an empty storage space. The church allows you to immediately take 1 gray mine, yellow knowledge, or dark green castle tile of your choice for free from any depot except the central black depot and place it into an empty storage space. The market allows you to immediately take 1 blue ship or light green animal tile of your choice for free from any depot except the central black depot and place it into an empty storage space. The boarding house immediately provides you with 4 worker tiles. When you build a bank, you immediately gain 2 Silverlings. When you build a city hall, you may immediately build any other tile from your storage for free. And finally, the Watchtower immediately grants you 4 victory points. If you're ever unable to make use of a building's advantage after it's placed, the advantage is lost forever. Yellow tiles are called knowledge tiles. Each one does something unique. Refer to pages 10 and 11 in the rules to learn their individual effects. As soon as a colored region is completely covered with tiles, it's scored using the victory point table on your player board. Count up the spaces in that region and gain the illustrated number of victory points. Additionally, when you complete a region, regardless of its size, even if it's just 1 space, you'll score an extra number of victory points as illustrated under the current phase. The first player who manages to completely cover all spaces of 1 color in his estate gets to take and immediately score the corresponding large bonus tile from the game board. They are worth 5 victory points in a 2-player game, 6 victory points in a 3-player game, and 7 points with 4. The second player who completely covers all spaces of that color takes the small bonus tile, which scores the same way, but it's worth less victory points. If you ever make it all the way around the victory point track, place your victory point tile on your player board. If you make it around again, flip it over to the 200 point side to keep track of your progress. Action 3. Sell goods. Spend a die matching the result on 1 stack of goods and place that entire stack face down on the goods storage space for sold goods. When you do, you will gain 2, 3, or 4 victory points per tile according to the number of players. You must always sell an entire stack and you can't leave any behind. As mentioned before, building a warehouse allows you to take this action for free. Action 4. Take worker tiles. The last action allows you to spend any die regardless of its result and take 2 worker tiles from the general supply. Worker tiles and Silverlings are not intentionally limited, so if you run out of either of those, you may improvise. When all players have taken their turns, the current round ends. Whoever is ahead on the turn order track becomes the start player and takes the white die. Players will now re-roll their dice, and the start player places the next goods tile on the game board according to the result of his white die. 6-sided tile spaces are not replenished yet. That doesn't happen until the next phase. After the 5th round, the current phase ends. All players receive 1 Silverling for each mine in their estate. Some yellow knowledge tiles may also have an effect at this time. The goods tiles will remain on the game board, but remove all 6-sided tiles and replenish the spaces with random new ones. Now take the 5 goods tiles for the next phase and place 1 in each of the round spaces face up. The next phase then begins. In a 3-player game only, this space will need a gray mine tile instead of a dark green castle tile for phases B and D, as represented here. On phases A, C, and E, you will place a castle tile like normal. After the 5th phase plays through to completion, final scoring commences. Each player will get 1 victory point for each Silverling, 1 victory point for each unsold goods tile, and 1 victory point for every 2 workers on his player board. Also, he will score any victory point bearing yellow knowledge tiles in his estate. The player with the most points is the winner. In the case of a tie, the tied player who has the fewest unused spaces in their estate wins. If there's still a tie, the winner is the tied player who is furthest behind on the turn order track. And that's your no BS guide on how to play the Castles of Burgundy. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, comment, and subscribe, and consider donating to the No BS Guide Patreon for more. Thanks for watching.